Colorado is a U.S. state encompassing most of the southern Rocky Mountains as well as the northeastern portion of the Colorado Plateau and the western edge of the Great Plains. Colorado is part of the western United States, the southwestern United States, and the Mountain States. Colorado is the 8th most extensive and the 22nd most populous of the 50 United States. The United States Census Bureau estimates that the population of Colorado was 5,456,574 on July 1, 2015, an increase of 8.50% since the 2010 United States Census. The state was named for the Colorado River, which Spanish travelers named the Rio Colorado for the ruddy silt the river carried from the mountains. The Territory of Colorado was organized on February 28, 1861, and on August 1, 1876, U.S. President Ulysses S. Grant signed Proclamation 230 admitting Colorado to the Union as the 38th state. Colorado is bordered by Wyoming to the north, Nebraska to the northeast, Kansas to the east, Oklahoma to the southeast, New Mexico to the south, Utah to the west, and Arizona to the southwest. At the Four Corners, Colorado is noted for its vivid landscape of mountains, forests, high plains, mesas, canyons, plateaus, rivers, and desert lands. Denver is the capital and the most populous city of Colorado. Residents of the state are properly known as Coloradoans, although the term Coloradan is used in modern times. Geography. Colorado is notable for its diverse geography, ranging from alpine mountains, arid plains and deserts with huge sand dunes, deep canyons, sandstone and granite rock formations, rivers, lakes, and lush forests. The borders of Colorado were originally defined to be lines of latitude and longitude, making its shape a latitude-longitude * quadrangle which stretches from 37 degrees north to 41 degrees north latitude and from 102 degrees 03 W to 109 degrees 03 W longitude. Colorado, Wyoming and Utah are the only states which have boundaries defined solely by lines of latitude and longitude. Mountains. The summit of Mount Elbert at 14,440 feet elevation in Lake County is the highest point in Colorado and the Rocky Mountains of North America. Colorado is the only U.S. state that lies entirely above 1,000 meters elevation. The point where the Arikari River flows out of Yuma County, Colorado, and into Cheyenne County, Kansas, is the lowest point in Colorado at 3,317 feet elevation. This point, which holds the distinction of being the highest low-elevation point of any state, is higher than the high-elevation points of 18 states and the District of Columbia. Plains. A little less than one-half of the area of Colorado is flat and rolling land. East of the Rocky Mountains are the Colorado Eastern Plains of the High Plains, the section of the Great Plains within Nebraska at elevations ranging from roughly 3,350 to 7,500 feet. The Colorado Plains are usually thought of as prairies, but actually they have many patches of deciduous forests, buttes, and canyons, much like the High Plains in New Mexico as well. Eastern Colorado is presently mainly covered in farmland, along with small farming villages and towns. Precipitation is fair, averaging from 15 to 25 inches annually. Corn, wheat, hay, soybeans, and oats are all typical crops, and most of the villages and towns in this region boast both a water tower and a grain elevator, as well as the farming of crops. Eastern Colorado has a good deal of livestock raising, such as at cattle ranches and hog farms, and irrigation water is available from the South Platte, the Arkansas River, and a few other streams, and also from subterranean sources, including artesian wells. However, heavy use of groundwater from wells for irrigation has caused underground water reserves to decline. Front Range. Most of Colorado's population resides along the eastern edge of the Rocky Mountains in the Front Range urban corridor between Cheyenne, Wyoming, and Pueblo, Colorado. This region is partially protected from prevailing storms that blow in from the Pacific Ocean region by the high Rockies in the middle of Colorado. The only other significant population centers are the cities of Grand Junction, Durango, and Montrose, all in western Colorado. Continental Divide. The Continental Divide of the Americas extends along the crest of the Rocky Mountains. The area of Colorado to the west of the Continental Divide is called the western slope of Colorado. Drainage water west of the Continental Divide flows to the southwest via the Colorado River and the Green River into the Gulf of California. Within the interior of the Rocky Mountains are several large parks which are high broad basins. In the north, on the east side of the Continental Divide is the North Park of Colorado. The North Park is drained by the North Platte River, which flows north into Wyoming and Nebraska, just to the south of North Park, but on the western side of the Continental Divide, is the Middle Park of Colorado, which is drained by the Colorado River. The South Park of Colorado is the region of the headwaters of the South Platte River. Southern region in southmost Colorado is the large San Luis Valley, where the headwaters of the Rio Grande are located. The valley sits between the Sangre de Cristo Mountains and San Juan Mountains, and consists of large desert lands that eventually run into the mountains. The Rio Grande drains due south into New Mexico, and Texas. Across the Sangre de Cristo Range to the east of the San Luis Valley lies the Wet Mountain Valley. Peaks to the west of the Great Plains of Colorado rises the eastern slope of the Rocky Mountains. Notable peaks of the Rocky Mountains include Longs Peak, Mount Evans, Pikes Peak, and the Spanish Peaks near Walsenburg, in southern Colorado. This area drains to the east and the southeast, ultimately either via the Mississippi River or the Rio Grande into the Gulf of Mexico. The Rocky Mountains within Colorado contain about 53 peaks that are 14,000 feet or higher in elevation above sea level, known as 14ers. These mountains are largely covered with trees such as conifers and aspens up to the tree line, at an elevation of about 12,140 feet in southern Colorado to about 10,500 feet in northern Colorado. Above this only alpine vegetation grows. Only small parts of the Colorado Rockies are snow-covered year-round. Much of the alpine snow melts by mid-August with the exception of a few snow-capped peaks and a few small glaciers. The Colorado Mineral Belt, stretching from the San Juan Mountains in the southwest to Boulder and Central City on the Front Range, contains most of the historic gold and silver mining districts of Colorado. Mount Elbert is the highest summit of the Rocky Mountains. The 30 highest major summits of the Rocky Mountains of North America all lie within the state. Colorado Western Slope. The western slope of Colorado is drained by the Colorado River and its tributaries or by evaporation in its arid areas. The Colorado River flows through Glenwood Canyon and then through an arid valley made up of desert from Rifle to Parachute, through the desert canyon of the Bequia Canyon, and into the arid desert of Grand Valley, where the city of Grand Junction is located. Also prominent in or near the southern portion of the western slope of the Grand Mesa, which lies to the southeast of Grand Junction, the high San Juan Mountains, a rugged mountain range, and to the west of the San Juan Mountains, the Colorado Plateau, a high arid region that borders southern Utah. The city of Grand Junction, Colorado is the largest city on the western slope. Grand Junction and Durango are the only major centers of television broadcasting west of the Continental Divide in Colorado, though most mountain resort communities publish daily newspapers. Higher education in and near the western slope can be found at Colorado Mesa University in Grand Junction. Grand Junction is located along Interstate 70, the only major highway in western Colorado. Grand Junction is also along the major railroad of the western slope, the Union Pacific. This railroad also provides the tracks for Amtrak's California Zephyr passenger train, which crosses the Rocky Mountains between Denver and Grand Junction via a route on which there are no continuous highways. The western slope lies in close proximity to multiple notable destinations in the Colorado Rocky Mountains, including Glenwood Springs, with its resort Hot Springs, and the ski resorts of Aspen, Breckenridge, Vail, Crested Butte, Steamboat Springs, and Telluride. The northwestern corner of Colorado is a sparsely populated region, and it contains part of the noted Dinosaur National Monument, which is not only a paleontological area, but is also a scenic area of rocky hills, canyons, arid desert, and stream beds. Here, the Green River briefly crosses over into Colorado. From west to east, the land of Colorado consists of desert lands, desert plateaus, alpine mountains, national forests, relatively flat grasslands, scattered forests, buttes, and canyons in the western edge of the Great Plains. The famous Pikes Peak is located just west of Colorado Springs. Its isolated peak is visible from nearly the Kansas border on clear days, and also far to the north and the south. Desert lands in Colorado are located in and around areas such as the Pueblo, Canyon City, Florence, Great Sand Dunes National Park in Preserve, San Luis Valley, Cortez, Canyon of the Ancients National Monument, Hovenweep National Monument, Ute Mountain, Delta, Grand Junction, Colorado National Monument, and other areas surrounding the Uncompahgre Plateau and Uncompahgre National Forest. Colorado is one of 4 states in the United States that share a common geographic point, the Four Corners, together with Arizona, New Mexico, and Utah. At this intersection, it is possible to stand in 4 states at once. Climate. The climate of Colorado is more complex than states outside of the Mountain States region. Unlike most other states, southern Colorado is not always warmer than northern Colorado. Most of Colorado is made up of mountains, foothills, high plains, and desert lands. Mountains and surrounding valleys greatly affect local climate. As a general rule, with an increase in elevation comes a decrease in temperature and an increase in precipitation. Northeast, east, and southeast Colorado are mostly the high plains, while northern Colorado is a mix of high plains, foothills, and mountains. Northwest and west Colorado are predominantly mountainous, with some desert lands mixed in. Southwest and southern Colorado are a complex mixture of desert and mountain areas. Eastern Plains. The climate of the Eastern Plains is semi-arid with low humidity and moderate precipitation, usually from 15 to 25 in annually. The area is known for its abundant sunshine and cool, clear nights, which give this area a great average diurnal temperature range. The difference between the highs of the days and the lows of the nights can be considerable as warmth dissipates to the space during clear nights, the heat radiation not being trapped by clouds. In summer, this area can have many days above 95 degrees Fahrenheit and often 100 degrees Fahrenheit. On the plains, the winter lows usually range from 25 to -10 degrees Fahrenheit. About 75% of the precipitation falls within the growing season, from April to September, but this area is very prone to droughts. Most of the precipitation comes from thunderstorms, which can be severe, and from major snowstorms that occur in the winter and early spring. Otherwise, winters tend to be mostly dry and cold. In much of the region, March is the snowiest month. April and May are normally the rainiest months, while April is the wettest month overall. The Front Range cities closer to the mountains tend to be warmer in the winter due to Chinook winds which warm the area, sometimes bringing temperatures of 70 degrees Fahrenheit or higher in the winter. The average July temperature is 55 degrees Fahrenheit in the morning and 90 degrees Fahrenheit in the afternoon. The average January temperature is 18 degrees Fahrenheit in the morning and 48 degrees Fahrenheit in the afternoon, although variation between consecutive days can be 40 degrees Fahrenheit. West of the plains and foothills. West of the plains and foothills, the weather of Colorado is much less uniform. Even places a few miles apart can experience entirely different weather depending on the topography of the area. Most valleys have a semi-arid climate, which becomes an alpine climate at higher elevations. Humid microclimates also exist in some areas. Generally, the wettest season in western Colorado is winter, while June is the driest month. The mountains have mild summers with many days of high temperatures between 60 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Although thunderstorms can cause sudden but brief drops in temperature, the winters bring abundant, powdery snowfall to the mountains with plenty of sunshine between major storms. The western slope has high summer temperatures similar to those found on the plains, while the winters tend to be slightly cooler due to the lack of warming winds common to the plains and Front Range. Other areas in the west have their own unique climate. Extreme weather changes are common in Colorado. Although the majority of extreme weather occurs in the least populated areas of the state, thunderstorms are common east of the Continental Divide in the spring and summer, yet are usually brief. Hail is a common sight in the mountains east of the Divide and in the northwest part of the state. The eastern plains have had some of the biggest hailstorms in North America. The eastern plains are part of the extreme western portion of Tornado Alley. Some damaging tornadoes in the eastern plains include the 1990 Lemon F3 tornado and the 2008 Windsor EF3 tornado, which devastated the small town. The plains are also susceptible to occasional floods, which are caused both by thunderstorms and by the rapid melting of snow in the mountains during warm weather. Denver's record in 1901 for the number of consecutive days above 90 degrees Fahrenheit was broken during the summer of 2008. The new record of 24 consecutive days surpassed the previous record by almost a week. Much of Colorado is a very dry state, averaging only 17 in of precipitation per year statewide, and rarely experiences a time when some portion of the state is not in some degree of drought. The lack of precipitation contributes to the severity of wildfires in the state, such as the Hayman Fire, one of the largest wildfires in American history, and the 4 Mile Canyon Fire of 2010, which until the Waldo Canyon Fire of June 2012, and the Black Forest Fire of June 2013, was the most destructive wildfire in Colorado's recorded history. However, some of the mountainous regions of Colorado receive a huge amount of moisture from winter snowfalls. The spring melts of these snows often cause great water flows in the Yampa River, the Colorado River, the Rio Grande, the Arkansas River, Cherry Creek, the North Platte River, and the South Platte River. Water flowing out of the Colorado Rocky Mountains is a very significant source of water for the farms, towns, and cities of the southwest states of New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, and Nevada, as well as the Midwest, such as Nebraska and Kansas, and the southern states of Oklahoma and Texas. A significant amount of water is also diverted for use in California. Occasionally, the flow of water reaches northern Mexico. The highest ambient air temperature ever recorded in Colorado was 118 degrees Fahrenheit on July 11, 1888, at Bennett. The lowest air temperature was -61 degrees Fahrenheit on February 1, 1985, at Maybell. Earthquakes. Despite its mountainous terrain, Colorado is relatively quiescent seismically. The U.S. National Earthquake Information Center is located in Golden. On August 22, 2011, a 5.3 magnitude earthquake occurred 9 miles west-southwest of the city of Trinidad. There were no casualties and only a small amount of damage was reported. It was the second largest earthquake in Colorado. A magnitude 5.7 earthquake was recorded in 1973.